Want a soar? Get a mentor. Hey, it's Nina Carmichael, and we make these videos because you're probably the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, my husband Evan Carmichael, the 6 high-performing habits that you need to develop right now. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1. Tie your self-worth to the effort.
You need to tie your self-worth to the effort, not the results. If you tie your self-worth to the results, to achieving your goals, then you'll only take on things that you think you have a high chance of winning at. You'll constantly quit on your big goals and only go after the small ones. Tie your self-worth to trying, to the effort, to doing it when it's hard. Make yourself proud with the effort that you put in, not just when you win. But if you keep getting up every day and putting in effort that you are proud of, you will win on a level that you never thought was possible. So I just came back from doing my 90-day tour, 23 cities, and one of my goals was I wanted to stay healthy on my tour. One of my vices is it's hard for me to stay healthy when I travel. And that's okay when you're only going for a day or 2 or a week at a time. I ate whatever I wanted and then came back and got back on my healthy journey. But 90 days on the road, that's a lot of time. I could do a lot of damage if I ate like I normally ate. And so I wanted to feel proud of my effort of being able to eat healthy. And so I think it's good to take on difficult things. How do you become proud of your effort? You do things that are difficult to you. If it's easy and you win, you don't care. That's not how you build your self-esteem. But when it's hard and you do it, that's when you start to feel good about yourself. That's when you start to build your pride. That's where you build your self-confidence. And so one of the first stops that we made along the way in Ohio was at Raising Cane's. It's this famous chicken place where they told us you have to go to Raising Cane's. You have to go there. You've got to go. You've got to try their fried chicken. It's the best in the world. Great. At the end of my event, we went, but it wasn't my cheat day yet. Eating healthy, I had to pick 6 days a week. It wasn't my cheat day yet, and so we went. And I went in and I smelled the chicken, and Nina and Danny, my camera guy, went in and they bought it. And I said, Nina, can I have your chicken? I just want to hold it and I want to smell it. And so my mouth is watering right now just thinking about it. I took her chicken. Instead of staying home and like you guys go out and eat, no, I want to come. I don't want to take the easy path. I want the difficult way. I want to be proud of my effort. So I took the chicken that she had and I brought it up to my nose and I took a big smell in. It was so good. My mouth was watering so much. And then they had this special sauce, this dipping sauce that I took and I brought it up again. And, smelled it. I can smell it right now. And then I give it back to her. Not a single bite. Here you go. Enjoy your chicken. I'm proud of my effort. I'm patting myself on the back. I'm doing things that are difficult in service of my goals, in service of my ambition. But I'm proud of where I am right now, what I'm doing right now, and the small wins along the way. I'm proud of my effort. Now that may seem a little bit crazy of how to stick to a diet, but I think teaching yourself that you can't be around bad food is actually counterproductive. You're teaching yourself that you're not strong. When people say get rid of the junk food from your house, I think you're teaching yourself that you're not strong, that you can't be around it. And then as soon as you go on vacation, as soon as you go to an office party, as soon as you get out of your house, you're screwed. Because you're teaching yourself you have no tolerance, you have no resistance, that you are weak in this area. And so I want to combat that. I want to be proud of the effort I put in and gain strength along the way. And so when my friends are on a diet, I tell them the same thing. A buddy of mine, Mark Drager, is on a diet right now and he wants to lose an extra 10 pounds. So I told him, here's what you do. Take your favorite food. What's your favorite food? And he said, cookies. Take your favorite food, bring it to the office. I want you to be around it. Be around the cookies. Take a smell and then put it down and tell yourself that you are awesome.
I'm stronger than you. Cookies.
Because you're proud of your effort, because you're trying, because you're doing the difficult things instead of taking the easy way out and teaching yourself that you're weak. So how can you be proud of your effort and start making progress towards your goals? I'm going to give you a 3-step process on how to do it. Step number 1 is pick a goal that you're having a hard time with. Pick a goal that you're having a hard time going off and doing. Not something easy, not something that's automatic, not something that you're doing every day that you could just check the box off and say, yay, I did it. When you do the easy things, you don't feel great about yourself. It's good, it's a little tiny win, but it's the difficult things. What's one goal that you're having a hard time right now accomplishing? Step number 2, ask how can you make yourself proud? What can you do today to make progress on that goal in a way that makes you proud? And that's different for everybody. What makes me proud might be different than you, but something that you could take, an action that you can do that would make you proud of your effort. I gave the same challenge to Alex, who's also on a diet. Alex helps me run Toronto Dance Salsa, and his vice is Big Macs. So I told him, go to McDonald's, order a Big Mac, order it. He loves the Big Mac sauce. Open up the case, smell it. Just smell that extra Big Mac sauce. Ask for the extra Big Mac sauce, so they have to make it fresh for you, right? Take it, smell it, and then go outside and give it to a homeless person because he loves acts of service. You smell it, you give it to a homeless person outside, and then you pat yourself on the back. That's what would make him proud. Take your goal, the one you've been having a hard time on, stop trying to take the easy way out on it, and do something that makes you proud of your effort. That when you come out of it, that difficult thing, you're gonna say, holy cow, I'm awesome. I can't believe I was capable of that. And you get up tomorrow, you do it again, you do it again, you do it again. Step number 3 is share it and celebrate. You just did something amazing. You just did something that you are proud of. Share it and celebrate it. Whether you want to post it to an Instagram story like Mark did, whether you want to just go tell your friends, whether you want to post it on Facebook, tell your best friend, tell your parents, celebrate it yourself. Just celebrate, put on music, dance, celebrate. You need to celebrate the things that make you feel proud, because when you celebrate it, when you tell people about it, when you keep doing it, it'll motivate you to keep on going. That momentum becomes important. That celebration, that sharing becomes important. And I don't think as entrepreneurs, we often celebrate enough about the effort. We may celebrate the results. Hey, I crossed 1 million views. Hey, I got X subscribers. Hey, I won this award. But what you should be celebrating is the effort of the work you're putting in when it's hard.
Rule number 2, have a consistent routine.
Nobody wakes up with explosive energy, ready to go and start the day. Not Tony, not me, not you, nobody, not consistently. The difference is that successful people have a morning routine that primes them for success consistently, every day. So they demand the best of themselves. If you want to change your life, change your outcomes, it starts with you changing your consistent morning routine. So let me share with you a recent change to my morning routine. I just came back from Puerto Rico. I was meeting with Brendan Bouchard. He had this mastermind that I was invited to with him and Tom Bilyeu and Dean Graziosi and a bunch of super high achievers, and lots of fun. And at the end, he gave us this, which is his high performance planner. And what you do here every day is you fill it out and you put, let me go to today's date. There's monthly, weekly, daily goals, right? And you fill this out. Now I haven't filled it. I don't use it as a calendar where you fill out what's happening every day. I still use Google Calendar for that, but it primes you with questions. So it says, example, person I need to lead or connect with today and how to do it well. My top 3 goals, priorities, right? My first one was make amazing YouTube videos. Hope I'm doing it. Today's message to myself. You got to fill all this stuff in. One of my favorites, where is it? If I was a high performance coach looking at my life from a high level, I would tell myself to remember that. And then you fill it up, right? And so this is what Brendan does every day. I'm applying it as a test. He said, do it for the next 30 days. Most people quit after 7. Do it for at least 30. This book, I think, takes you to 60. And I'm doing it, and I'm testing it. And that's part of the process, right? The most important part right now of my morning routine is doing the thing that makes me want to soar. And so think about what makes you come alive and then put that into your morning routine. But I love trying on different hats and exploring, and Brendan does this, let me give it a shot. John Astroff does that, let me give this a shot. And then you play with it and you see, how does it make you feel? Are you ending up achieving your goals? Are you ending up being more productive? Are you ending up being happier, more energized, more fulfilled at the end of every day? And if yes, keep doing it. And if not, don't. You have to figure out what the best morning routine looks like for you. And that can come from trying on different people's hats and their schedules, but you have to have something. Everybody has something. Nobody just wakes up
and then hopes that amazing things happen. Not people who are successful. A lot of people wake up like that though. A lot of people do wake up. Most people wake up and hope something happens to them. Hopes they win the lottery. Hopes they get the promotion. Hopes some big customer calls them, right? We're just living in a land of, I hope something big happens to me, but I don't believe it's going to, as opposed to demanding excellence from yourself every day, and it begins with your morning routine. So how can you do it? I'm gonna give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is figure out what makes you soar. So I said this is the most important part of my morning routine. What makes you come alive and soar? What makes you feel like the work that you do matters and you have to show up today? So for me, I have to think of a message every day. I think about you guys every day. I wake up, I'm here in my Toronto condo. It's hard to imagine that 300 million people have seen my videos. That number doesn't make any sense, right? And so it's easy just to wake up and just continue to live my life, me, my dogs, my wife, and my condo, and just another okay day, right? I have to remind myself that the work that I do matters. I think of a message and then I share it, and I take out my phone and I post something to Instagram typically, right? And that sets me up. That reminds me that what I do matters, is meaningful. I need to demand excellence from myself. What is it for you? Maybe it's creating a piece of content. Maybe it's making a video. Maybe it's watching a video. Maybe this is part of your morning routine, thank you, and it helps you soar. Right? Maybe it's doing a good deed. Maybe it's meditation or prayer or walking the dog or playing in the sun, like whatever it is. What makes you come alive? You have felt it before. You have felt it before. You've had moments in your life where you were bold, confident, unstoppable, powerful, where you felt like you could take on the world, right? Where you felt like your crazy ideas were possible. You felt that before. I know you have. The problem is it's not consistent. You're not consistently feeling that way. And so you need to reverse engineer yourself. Before you worry about taking on other people's routines and ideas, which are definitely helpful, reverse engineer yourself to figure out when in your life did you feel the most bold, confident, powerful, alive, and what led to that happening? What led to that happening? And then put that into your morning routine. Demand it from yourself every day, right? So it could be reading, it could be watching video, all the things I talked about. It doesn't matter. You felt it before. Reverse engineer what that thing was and then put it into your morning routine, because if you woke up and you did the thing that made you soar, that made you feel bold, unstoppable, powerful, confident every single day, holy cow, get ready for a massive change in what your life looks like over the next year. Step number 2 is ask the high performance coach question. So again, I'm going through all of this stuff with Brendan. I'm going through all this, and my favorite question was the one I read. If I was a high performance coach, this is what you should ask every day. I like this. If I was a high performance coach looking at my life from a high level, I would tell myself to remember that. Because it's so easy, why I love this is it's so easy to look at other people's lives and say what needs to be fixed, right? You can look at your spouse, your friends, your team, your parents, your siblings, your high school mates, whatever. You can look at other people and say, that needs to be fixed. You got to go off and do this, right? You become the high performance coach for other people. And what I love about this is that you're looking at your own life today as a high performance coach. What would you tell yourself? And then they have one at the end of the day. If I was my own high performance coach, I would tell myself this statement about today. So of all the things on here, it's a great format. I like that the best. And so I would challenge you for the next 30 days to ask yourself that simple question. If you were a high performance coach looking at your life from a high level, you would tell yourself to remember that what? And then step number 3 would be, which 3 people can you model their routine? So Brendan, he's got his, and I'm modeling this for at least 30 days. I've added, John Assaraf, a friend of the channel, been on a couple times, talks about writing down your goals every day and then touching them, right? So I'll write down some goals and then I write them every day now and I'm touching them, right? That's what he does. Great. Again, you got to see what's going to work for you. Maybe I do that for 30 days and stop. Maybe it's what I do for the rest of my life. I don't know. You won't know until you do it consistently enough. So pick 3 people who you like. Pick 3 people who you respect, who you look up to. Say, this is the kind of person that I want to learn from. And then go investigate how they start their day. And then try on some of it, right? You might love The Rock and he works out for 4 hours a day. You may not be able to do that, but you could work out for an hour a day, right? Because maybe you're doing nothing every day. So it's a good starting point. Like, just get to the gym and start working out every day, right? So pick 3 people who you love, look up to, respect, admire, and then go research what are their morning routines and how can you apply one thing from each of them to see if it works for you.
Rule number 3, have a plan.
You have to have a plan for what you're going to do when it gets hard. When you want to quit, when you know what has made you quit in the past, and when you know that thing that made you quit is going to show up again, what are you going to do? When you have a plan for how you're going to handle it, you'll stay committed. When you don't have a plan, you're just going to react, and probably not react in a way that will make you proud of yourself. So this is one of the biggest hacks that I've discovered more recently in my career and my adulthood, whatever you want to call it, is typically on goals where I would have a hard time following through, or it got really difficult or scary or hard. I would just push myself more to say, you're Evan Carmichael, you do scary, difficult, or hard, let's go do this. And I would summon the extra strength to have to get through whatever I was struggling with. What I've done more recently, and why I love having this video on, is very timely, is trying to prepare in advance for some of the obstacles that I know are going to come. So as an example, I've done this recently, this week. Last week I had a really rough week. I wasn't sleeping very well. I had some big interviews for my channel. I was nervous about them. I was staying up late, and when I can't sleep, I get restless legs. My legs are jumping all the time. And if I'm in bed for more than 20 minutes, my legs start to get jumpy. And I've tried magnesium, and I've tried vitamin B, and I've tried a whole bunch of other things to try to make it go away. And it's still something that I'm struggling with. The thing that's worked out the best is actually stretching. So I stretch out my calves. I think partly it's also because I'm on a trampoline all day long, and I'm getting 20,000 plus steps in or jumps in a day, that I need to stretch my calves the other way for them to kind of, I don't know, de-stress. Anyway, maybe too much information. But what was happening last week was I would lie in bed, would do my stretching before, lie in bed, and then I'd get restless legs, and so I'd get up and I would do some work or play some League of Legends or whatever, and then I would fall asleep and get tired because I was so exhausted. And last week I had a 4:30 in the morning day where that's when I went to sleep, a 2:30 in the morning day. And so I set a new plan on the weekend to say, okay, I can predict that this is going to happen, right? I can try to muscle my way through like I normally would do and say, I'm Evan Carmichael, I do difficult things, just stay in bed, try to muscle your way through it, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't work. I said, you know what, I'm going to have a plan this time. What's my plan? My plan is going to be, I'm going to do my stretching before I go to bed. And if I get the restless legs, jumpy legs, that comes up after 20 minutes because I haven't fallen asleep yet, I'm going to get up and stretch again. And so that's what I tried. And it worked. And so I got up and I stretched. I was super tired. I didn't want to stretch. I would rather just go work or something and hop on my trampoline and then 2 hours later come back to bed. But I stretched for a couple minutes and I said, I'm just going to try it. Let's try this. I stretched for a couple minutes. I went back to bed and I fell asleep. Like, oh my God, I feel amazing. I didn't stay up till 2:30 or 4:30 in the morning. This is great because I had planned for it more effectively. So whatever goal you set for yourself, it always comes back to habits, right? Like, what are you doing on a consistent basis? And habits invariably will get hard. There will be moments where the habit is really difficult to keep. Right? When you're feeling bold and motivated and confident and you had tons of sleep and everything's going right, it's usually pretty easy to stay consistent on the habits. But when obstacles come in your way, it's going to be harder. And so the things that will trigger you to want to quit, right? So for me, it was getting jumpy legs after 20 minutes and being in bed. When you can figure out your trigger, the thing that in the past has made you quit, why you've gone kind of stop and start and stop and start and stop and start. What were the triggers that made you stop? What happened? And then when you're feeling bold, motivated, confident, have enough rest, all of that energy, maybe that's today. To plan for the days when you're not going to have as much, when you know that this roadblock's going to come up again, when you know that this person's going to call you and it's going to send you down some spiral, right? This trigger that's going to make you stop. The trigger that is going to make you stop. What is your reaction going to be? And plan for that. It makes a huge, huge, huge difference and allows you to stay committed to your goals. Okay, so how do we plan to stay consistent on our goals? 3 steps, let's go. Step number 1 is understand what is the habit that you're having a hard time staying consistent on. There are some habits that I can do that might be really difficult for you, but easy for me, and vice versa. Super easy for you, but difficult for me. What I care about is, what is a habit that actually means something to you that you're having a difficult time staying consistent on? Whether it's something health related, exercise, diet, whether it's business, making videos, creating content, following up with people, staying ahead of your schedule, being on time. Like, everybody's got their own issues. For you, what's the most important habit
that you want to stay consistent on that you've historically had a hard time doing? Write that down. Step number 2 is, what are the triggers that are preventing you from staying consistent on that habit? So if your habit is you want to eat healthy, and you've dieted and stopped and ate healthy for 3 days and then stopped. Like, what are the triggers that prevent you from staying consistent? What are the triggers that make you want to stop? So if it's eating healthy, maybe it's that you don't have a good night's sleep, and so that makes you want to eat all sorts of crazy food. It could be that you're going to an office party or you're hanging out with your colleagues and all they're doing is eating junk food, and that makes you want to eat the junk food. Like, what are the triggers that are coming up that every time this happens, you fall off the track, and this happens again and you fall off the track, right? A one-off I'm not so concerned about, but you've already been trying to keep on this habit, and you know that you haven't stayed consistent, and the things that are causing you to not be consistent are happening constantly. They're repeated patterns. So what are the most repeated patterns for you that help you fall off track? And then step number 3 is understand, well, what will you do right now when that trigger comes up? When you don't sleep well, what will you do to make sure that you don't go cheat on your diet? When you do have to go out with your friends, what are you going to do to make sure that you don't eat all the nachos or whatever they're eating that makes you want to eat it, right? When you identify what those triggers are, while you're feeling bold and confident and amazing and full of potential, create the plan to say, okay, when this happens, I'm going to do this so that I don't end up down here. Because too often when this happens, we just slide all the way down. We're putting the gap, right? We're putting a stop. The slide stops here. It doesn't stop way down here. When this happens, what are we gonna do? Put that into place for yourself and watch your life change. Also, if you want to have more self-confidence and self-belief, I've created a special free program called 254 because the science says that it takes up to 254 days of consecutive action to build a habit. So what I'm going to do is send you an unlisted video to your email every day for 254 days for free to help your confidence and self-belief shift forward. The link to join is in the description below.
So I highly recommend that you print off 20 to 30 copies of your book before it goes to final print, and just get feedback from people who are inside your target market and outside, just to get tips, suggestions.
And what you need to do is inoculate yourself against the judgment and learn to take action on your ideas, because the alternative is a life filled with regret.
Surround yourself with greatness. If you want to be more confident, you need to surround yourself with things that make you feel confident.
Rule number 4, don't be afraid.
Sharing is scary. As Coretta Scott King said, "My story is a freedom song of struggle. It is about finding one's purpose, how to overcome fear, and to stand up for causes bigger than oneself." Most people aren't willing to share their story because they're afraid. You're afraid of being judged. You're afraid of what people will say. You're afraid that people won't look at you the same way anymore. You were normal the day before, but now you're an ex-drug addict. Now you're someone who tried to commit suicide. Now you're someone who has depression or some disease or a disorder. Now you don't fit in anymore. And that's scary. Remember, you're a leader. You want to have an impact. You want to make a difference. This is how you do it. If you're afraid to share your story, then you'll never reach the people you can help. If you don't share your story, it just confirms for everyone like you that you should be ashamed and afraid that this thing happened to you and lots of other people shouldn't be talked about. Your silence perpetuates everyone's silence until you're not silent. Sharing your story gives hope to people who are suffering the same thing. It gives them permission to feel they're not alone. It gives them a promise of a better world, because now there's something they can do about it. They can act. They can change, they can grow, because you're here. Even if you haven't figured it out yet, even if you're still on your journey, you can help the person who you were 5 years ago. And there are lots of people who are exactly like the person you were 5 years ago. They need your voice, they need your guidance, they need your leadership. Telling your story is scary, but you do scary, you do difficult, you take on challenges. You don't want to just do what's safe, predictable, easy. You don't want to photocopy the same day of your life over and over again. That is what growth looks like. Pushing barriers, taking on your fears, getting to the next level. And then you can bring people with you and lift them up so they can grow as well. Otherwise, you'll get to the end of your life and realize that you could have done so much, but you played small because you were afraid. And that is not an acceptable outcome for your life. Not for you. You're a leader. Okay, so how do we do it? How do we have the courage to tell our story? 3 steps. Let's go. Step number 1 is, what is your story? And particularly, what is the thing that you're so afraid of? What is that part of your story that you've been hiding, that you don't want other people to see, because there's lots of other people who currently are hiding as well. And they're afraid that they're not going to look normal if they share. You give them permission to share. What is that piece of your story that you have been hiding, that you're worried about judgment on? Write it down. Step number 2 is, how can you not throw other people under the bus? So another reason why people don't share their story is because it impacts other people. Because you don't want to say anything bad about your father or your mother or family relative or something that happened to somebody else, right? Or because of somebody else. So how can you tell your story without throwing that person under the bus? For me, a lot of times with the stories that I share on this channel, I'll change people's, I will never say people's names unless they know that I'm sharing their story, but I'll often change the relationship. I'll often change the gender of the person that I'm talking about, because that actually doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that it was that person. It matters what happened to you. So you're owning your part without throwing the other person under the bus. And then step number 3 is, where will you share it today? Where are you going to share it? You know what it is. You can't teach yourself that you come up against something difficult, something scary, and then you don't do it. You know you need to do it. You know you want to do it. Where will you share it today? Don't worry about it being perfect. Don't worry about having the perfectly polished YouTube video with all the fancy editing. You take out your phone, you press record, or you go to Photoshop or Canva and you create a graphic, or you write a tweet, or you write a message, a post on Facebook or LinkedIn. Doesn't matter. However you want to express yourself. Where are you going to share that painful part of your story the world doesn't know yet today?
Rule number 5, look after your finances.
You need to have a financial plan or you're going to end up broke. This happens to so many entrepreneurs. You're putting everything you've got back into your business, which is not that bad a strategy, to be honest, because at least you're getting the compounding on your business. But a lot of what happens is you end up super cash poor. And if anything happens to your company, you're screwed. All of that work that you put in, all the money that you put in, all the investments you put in, you've got nothing. You've got no backup plan. And this flies in the face a little bit of the go all in, have no plan B, no backup plan, don't give yourself an option, burn the boats. But having a financial plan that allows you to be safe, be comfortable, have that nest egg in the future is really, really, really important. I can't tell you how many entrepreneurs I've met who are so focused on building their business, and then when you ask them about their own financial plans and their investments and what they're doing, it's nothing. They have no plan. If their business goes away, they're completely out of luck. They're completely screwed. And so you need to start having that financial plan so that you don't end up with a major loss or being 60 and having nothing to fall back on. I think it's important to get started now. So here's how I do it. When I'm looking at my projects, I want to spend 40% as a maximum on operations. So everything is based off of revenue. And this video is going to get a little more technical than I usually do. So let me know if you like it in the comments below. When I'm looking at my budgeting, Nina and I look at this every month. So Nina's in charge of my operations. She's in charge of all the bank accounts. She's in charge of all the payments. She keeps a tight ship running. When I look at my revenue numbers, my operational budget is 40% of revenue. So to make this video, right, to make my YouTube channel happen, for my editing team, for my research team, for my thumbnail team, for my gear, for my salary, all of that stuff has to be 40% max of the revenue. And so at the beginning, if it's just you, then don't start spending too far ahead of the curve, right? I hate spending money until I'm making money. So these numbers can still apply. You can come up with your own version of it, but the numbers still apply no matter how much revenue you're making. You just stop spending more than you're making. That's a great start at the beginning. So many entrepreneurs are looking for ways to spend money. Stop spending money until you're making money. That's the first great bit of financial advice. I would put in, and still do for a new project, I put in my time, my energy, my hustle, my heart, but not my money until I'm making money. So once you're making the money, even a little bit of money, you're making $100, right? 40% goes towards operations. So you gotta buy a camera, and the camera costs you $100. That's a pretty cheap camera, but still, whatever. Then you have to wait till you have $400 in revenue, right? So you have your revenue, and then 40% goes to operations. At least for me, you can adjust these numbers for your own business. 25% for me goes to advertising, marketing, any promotional expenses. So that would also include travel in the past. I'm not traveling right now because of COVID, but that would include my travel. That would include any conferences that I was going to where I wasn't getting paid to go, and I had to cover my own flight and my own hotel. So anything that's related to advertising, to marketing, that would be within 25%. So I have an advertising budget, and this was actually hard for me to start spending money as my business grew, because I'm still in the mindset of I'm the entrepreneur who ate beans for lunch every day because I was making $300 a month. And so the idea of spending thousands and thousands of dollars on marketing every day it seems crazy. It seems crazy. Anyway, I had to get over it. I still struggle with it, but we're getting there. So having the budget helps me, right? Having the budget to spend money helps me. So 40% is operations, 25% is advertising, marketing, 10% is savings. So we take 10% of whatever I made, whatever the cash flow is coming in, and we put that away. And so that's where then I'm investing. That's the Tony Robbins compounding strategy. I invest half of it into an index fund that tracks the Canadian stock market. So half of my money just basically tracks the Canadian stock market. The fees are super low on it, and it's a way better return than you'll get on a mutual fund. And then the other half right now is mixed between Facebook and Amazon. So I'll take more of a flyer on half the money, and then the other half will be much more safe, just put into an index fund. So 10% of whatever I make in the business goes towards savings and investments. 5% goes towards giving away. So my wife, Nina, also loves to help and loves to support other people, just like I do. And in my book, Built to Serve, I talked about one of the biggest things I missed when I was looking through what makes Nina happy is being able to help other people and donate to causes. So we created a fund where 5% of what we make goes towards helping people.
Rule number 6, the last one before our very special bonus clip, tap into your reserve.
There will be moments in your business where you will need to have superhuman strength to keep going, where it just demands everything from you, every single ounce that you have. But if you need to have superhuman energy every single day, you're gonna burn out and fail. So whenever I wanna try something new, when I'm testing something new, I always eat into some of my reserves. It may mean to go off and do this new project, I'm gonna sleep less or spend a little bit less time working on my book or a little less time working on my YouTube channel, right? You eat into these reserves, but that's not sustainable. If that's what you're doing constantly, you're gonna be unhappy, you're gonna burn out, you're gonna fail. So a quick example, Sadhguru came to Toronto. Sadhguru, if you don't know, he's a yogi, he's an Indian mystic. We did a top 10 on him. He then invited me to come to his event in Toronto and then do a one-on-one interview with him close to the Toronto airport, the island. It was amazing, great time. Out of that, he says, Evan, I want you to come to my multi-day event in the US. I want you to come, be a VIP guest there. It'd be amazing to have you. Awesome. But before you do that, you have to do my 7-day program where you have to meditate every day for 7 days. And I think it's an hour plus every day. I didn't have an hour a day, right? I mean, that's not part of what I had in my calendar. Every hour in my calendar is accounted for. It doesn't mean I'm working all that time, but I might be spending time with my wife. I might be spending time with my son. Every hour is accounted for. And so to do this, I had to eat into some of my reserves. And so for that one, I asked Nina, I said, Nina, if you're gonna come with me, you have to do this too. Do we want to spend our hour in the evening, instead of watching a show, instead of relaxing, to do this program for 7 days for meditation? And she said yes. And so here's the thing, we did it for 7 days and we went to the event, it was awesome. If it was something that we were going to continue, if we were gonna meditate every day for an hour ongoing, then I'd have to readjust my schedule. Your success comes from your habits. You need to figure out what a balanced life looks like for you. Now, ultimately, I don't meditate an hour every night. I do some healing meditation for my neck every morning, but that habit didn't stick, and that's okay. So when you're testing new habits, testing new ideas, testing something for your business, or some emergency comes up that you have to deal with, it's gonna tap into your reserves.
You can't be running your business at full capacity already. You can't be running your business on zero, on empty, because that means there's no extra gear. That means that when life punches you in the face, you can't handle it. That means if you want to try or taste or test something else, you can't do it because you have no reserves, you have no battery, there's no more gas in the tank. And so that's where a lot of entrepreneurs live. That's where it's really troublesome. That's where a lot of entrepreneurs will end up burning out, failing, and crushing their dreams because you're just running with no gas left in the tank. And so you can stretch yourself. I think that's normal. I think that's okay. I think life will hit you in the face. And just when you think it couldn't get worse, here comes another punch. That will happen. But it's making sure that you can live that balanced life, whatever balance looks like for you. So how do you handle these things when they come up? I'm going to give you a 3-step process that I think will help. Step number 1 is tell yourself it's the best. When life punches you in the face, when you get some crisis that happens, I try to run a no crisis business, but that is not always possible. Stuff will still happen, and if it's not in your business life, it'll happen in your personal life. When life punches you in the face and you can't get out of it and you have to address it, you have to deal with it, instead of living in the land of negativity and complaining and why me and despair and desperation, I flip it. I complain for 8.5 seconds and then say, this is the best. It's the best. This is the best thing ever. Because what it does is it puts you in a state of resourcefulness. It puts you in a place where you can then go and solve the problem. So I'm going to meditate for an hour a night. This is the best, right? I'm sitting next to the smelly dude on the airplane. It's the best. Because what's the alternative? You're stuck next to the smelly guy on the airplane. What's the alternative? The alternative is you sit on the plane and you're upset and you freak out and you complain and you're negative and grumpy and unhappy. And that's not going to allow you to create beautiful, amazing things for your business or your life. So when you're forced into that situation, when life hits you by surprise, tell yourself this is the best. This is your chance to prove to yourself and the world what you're actually made of. Step number 2 is if this is an ongoing problem, then you need to fix your life. Right? If it's every single day that this is happening, then you can't tell yourself it's the best every day, because it's the best allows you to tap into those reserves. It allows you to find that extra little bit of juice in the gas tank to keep going and solve this big problem. But if it's every day that you're stressed out to the max, that you're not sleeping, that you have no energy, that you're hating the work that you're doing, you need to fix your life. You can't get up every day and just tell yourself it's the best, because you're going to run out of energy. There's no reserves left. You will fail. You will disappoint yourself. You will just run out. And so you are what you consistently do. You look at your calendar and there's something in there that is broken. You need to fix your life if every day you are stressed out. And then step number 3 is schedule for success. So your habits will dictate your success. Your actions need to map to your ambitions. What balance looks like for you needs to be reflected in your habits. You can say, here's what balance looks like for me, but if you're not living it, you're not going to be happy, and you're going to run out of energy, and you're going to burn out, and you're going to start to hate your life. So what does a balanced life look like for you? How much time do you want to spend with your family, with your significant other, on your business, on yourself, personal development, working out, singing, hobbies, dancing, friends, whatever it is that you want to do? What does a balanced life for you look like? And this is something that only you can judge. What I do, what The Rock does, what Sadhguru does, what Dan Locke does, what anybody that we profile, whatever they do, what Elon Musk does. Don't compare yourself to Elon Musk and his schedule. You can use his schedule as guidance, as an idea, as here's something that somebody is doing that is possible, but maybe that's not for you. You try on the hat and then you see. So you have to decide, what does balance look like for you? And then take out your calendar every day of the week from Sunday to the next Sunday and put everything in. Here's how much time I want to spend on these different activities. Because if you want balance and it looks like this, and then you look at your calendar and it's totally different, you're going to run out of energy and not like your life. Schedule for success. Now I've got a special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you watch a video and you just get motivated, the sign says you have a 35% chance of actually following through. That's not good enough, Believe Nation. We got to take action. But when you get motivated and then you create a specific plan of action for when and how you're going to do it, your number jumps from 35% to 91% chance of following through. And when you commit to somebody else, like posting down here in the comments below, that number jumps to 95%. I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Put it down in the comments below so you can follow through and I can celebrate you. If you want to change where you are, then you need to change who you are. You are a direct result
of the environment that you're in, of the people that you hang out with, of the habits that you do regularly, and of the media and information that you consume on a regular basis. You are where you are in life because of your parents, because of your friends, because of the books you are reading or not reading, because of the Netflix shows or YouTube channels that you are watching or not watching. And if you want to change where you are in life, you need to grow as a human being. You need to change who you are. One of the great advantages of reading is that you get to take lessons that it may have taken somebody else decades to learn, and they've consumed it and they've written it into a book, decades sometimes of research and knowledge that you can consume in a couple of hours and immediately apply somehow to your life or to your business. It's a cheat, it's a hack. And for a lot of you, you may not have a great circle of friends. You may not have the ability to go out and network with people. You may live in a tiny town. You may have family that doesn't support you. And so a lot of you will then say, well, that's my lot in life and I'm screwed and I can never change that. No, you can change it by reading, right? By reading, you are hanging out with people who've done a lot more than you. And the more that you are hanging around those people, even if they're not in front of you, it'd be amazing to have Tony Robbins sit with you every single day and help guide you through life. But because you can't have that, you can have his books. You can learn from him. You can apply all of his lessons into your life on a daily basis and start seeing growth. And that applies to any of the authors that you might look up to. I take this even a step further in that as my video consumption has gone up, I've read less and less and less. I still read. I'm not happy with how much I'm reading. I probably read a couple of nights a week. I try to make it a daily practice, so it's one of the things that I'm working on. But I consume a ton of YouTube content. I much prefer watching videos than reading a book. That's where my mindset is at. It's why I make videos for you guys. It's why I do the top 10 series and the Mentor Me series especially. Because I, selfishly, I want to hang around people who've done so much more than me, and the more that I'm hanging around those people, the more their mindsets, their way of thinking, their attitudes, their belief seeps into me to allow me to go off and do bigger things. Elon Musk and Tony Robbins and Mel Robbins and E.T. and all of the people, Warren Buffett, that I profile, I feel like are my friends. Like, these are my acquaintances. These are guys and ladies that are in my ear constantly pushing me to do more, to strive for greater things, because the people in my life don't. The people in my life are great, and I'm so fortunate to have people who are extremely supportive of everything that I'm doing, but nobody's telling me, Evan, you suck. You could be doing more. Like, what you've done is great, but I know you could be doing a lot more. And the amount of growth that I have seen in the past couple years, I attribute exactly to the video content that I have consumed and made for you guys. And I guarantee you, whether it's watching YouTube videos like mine, whether it's reading a book a day, whether it's consuming just content that inspires you on a regular basis, if you were doing that, if you made it a daily habit, a daily practice to consume content, whether that's from a book or video or friends or conferences or meetups, whatever the thing is that gets you feeling like you could do more, you could be greater, you could accomplish bigger things, right? If you did that on a daily basis, whatever the thing that made you feel bold on a daily basis, I guarantee you that your life will be unrecognizable from where you are 1 year from today. Your change will be insane. And so there's that famous quote that says, you are the direct result of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, right? And that's very true. If you look at the 5 people who you spend the most time with, they're probably around the same spot that you are. And so the hack, the cheat, the shortcut to get to a better place is through aspirational mentors. It's through books, it's through videos. And so I would encourage you strongly to really do an audit of how you are spending your time, what kind of content and information you are consuming on a regular basis, and is that contributing to you untapping the inner potential that you have to go off and do amazing things? And if not, then let's change it.
If you want to learn how to start practicing in 2020 and your life will change, check out the video next to me. I think you're gonna enjoy. Continue to believe. I will see you there.
I say consistently because you are what you consistently do, not what you kinda do. If you run a kinda gotta do schedule, then you're gonna have